Welcome back to the next lesson on blazer creation. In this lesson, we show how to build the collar and fold the lapel of the jacket. Let's construct the collar and collar stand first. Constructing the collar and collar stand for a blazer is very similar to that for a shirt. We highly recommend that you give it a try first before watching the next part of the lesson. We need to add the top collar and collar stand into the neck cluster. We adjust the cluster type to collar. Then we need to adjust the cluster in the 3D window. We select Constrain Area to allow the collar to wrap to the front. Next, we begin to stitch the collar to the collar stand. Then we stitch the neckband to the neckline of the blazer. The side of the collar and neckband need to be stitched to the top edge of the lapel on the front bodice shell. We use multi-stitch. Then we adjust the stitches to match on the lapel. The next step is to adjust the 3D layer of the collar. The highest layer of the bodice is layer 5, so we adjust the collar stand to be layer 6 and the collar to be layer 7. Now we need to fold the collar. For the collar, we want to add a fold line close to the edge. We use clone edge by offset and offset the edge by -0.5 centimeters. We select Extend to Edges and click Apply. Let's review the garment in Prepare mode again. We need to fold this internal line on the collar. The collar is not folding correctly, so we adjust the fold direction. For the lapel, we must fold the internal lines on the lapel of the shell and the lapel facing. We start by folding the internal lines of the shell patterns. If the pattern is folded incorrectly, we'll invert the fold direction. We adjust the fold to a sharp fold so that the lapel is folded out more. We do the same for the lapel facing. Now that we have folded the patterns, we need to adjust the layer offset for the lapel facing. Do you recall what adjusting the layer offset of a fold line does? Does it A, allow a folded piece to sandwich another pattern without causing a collision in the simulation? Or B, allow the simulated fold to appear softer and without any collision? If you answered A, then you are correct. If you need a refresher on the advanced fold functions, watch the fold lesson in the 201 garment creation course. When creating lapels, we need to make sure the lapel facing sandwiches the fold shell patterns. The shell patterns are one layer above the lapel facing. Thus, we can offset the lapel facing by 2.5 layers. Now the folded part of the lapel is above the shell pattern. Before we dress, let's apply another color to the collar patterns and lapel facing so we can see them more clearly when the garment is simulated. Now we dress the jacket. The fold doesn't look great. We want a softer fold on the lapel and collar. We change the fold angle of the fold lines for the lapel facing and collar to 0 degrees. For the fold lines on the shell patterns, we change the fold angle to 120 degrees. The reason why the fold angle of the fold line for the shell pattern should not be 0 is because it would cause the lapel to roll out too much. Since that part of the garment is hidden under the lapel facing, the fold crease on the main shell would not be visible. Thus, we use the normal fold angle instead. Using the styling tool, we can also apply flatten properties to the lapel and collar fold if needed. Note, the fold angles should be adjusted to the look you want to achieve and may be different from one jacket to another. We update the simulation. The collar and lapel may not look their best now, but we can refine the simulation once we complete the garment. Save your file before moving on to the next lesson.